Welcome, welcome. Hi there, everybody. It's July. And I know I normally do these on Friday, but I figured everybody's going to be off Friday. So I'm coming today on a Tuesday, which is probably going to make me feel like this whole week is weird, but this week is weird with a holiday in the middle of the week. So today, I should introduce myself first. See, I'm already off the game because it's not a Friday. My name is Trisha Broderick, and I'm with Ignite Insight and Innovation. And today's live topic is a book review. I put review always in quotations because I am not a book critic. I am not a qualified expert on any of these. So I really should just say book thoughts. Trisha's book thoughts is really what this should be titled. And I normally do book like thought posts as blog posts, but I saw this author give a keynote at Craft Conference this past May in Budapest, and it was so amazing, so well done, probably one of the best keynotes I had seen in a while. And I decided that I was like, well, I'm going to buy the book, and I read the book in a day. So the book is 59 seconds. I don't know. I guess that's backwards, but this is the pretty cover of it. Okay. Pretty cover. 59 seconds by Richard Wiseman. And I did not read it in 59 seconds, but I did read it in a day. And so I wanted to cover some of the things because I not only love the keynote so much, but this book was really fascinating. Now, this book is not a professional only book. There was like a chapter on dating and on marriage. I'm happy to report my husband and I did well on the little quiz in there on marriage. But I'm going to focus obviously on the more work related elements and in it, but it was not a business only book. It was life. It was across the board, which I generally like because I don't have a differentiator necessarily, but I'm going to focus more on the parts that tied traditionally more to the workplace. And so overall, like if you enjoy kind of reading about lots of different myths or leprechauns or research and then having a nice summary of various research things, this book is for you. It's like just chocked full to the point that for the first time with like this, I actually have like kind of notes that I had to do because there was just so much. I don't even know how long it took this author to be able to like research all the research and pull all of this together. It just had to have been crazy. He has to have a mind that just loves this kind of stuff, but it was very fascinating overall. Obviously, I read it in a day. I loved it overall. So here were some of the things that kind of stood out to me that made me go, or reinforced something or explained why I do something that was working and I had no idea. Which is always sometimes one of the best things. Okay. So there was a whole section in here on happiness, and it was really fascinating. Now, I am not a big person on like you are responsible for building somebody's happiness in the workplace. But when I take it for just like looking at your own happiness and how you're showing up to work, how you're showing up in what you're doing, it was really fascinating how much the studies and the data said happiness can impact kind of be based on mindset and behaviors that you're doing, how big of an impact it has. And I don't want to quote specific numbers unless I pull up page numbers. So I did like on page 16 of the book, like it has different data and different things that are coming in here, all with sources. He was fantastic about sourcing stuff. But I do a blog every single month on just appreciations, and it really is about having that gratitude mindset and just being, what can I be thankful for? It doesn't mean that you're discounting the crap. It's still crap, right? But you're also still trying to look for the good and being appreciative of the good, even in the crap. And what can that mean? And what does that do? And how much of an influence and impact that can have on you? Even down to like, they did an experiment where they had people holding a pencil in their mouth for a long time. And because it forces kind of a smile, like what the impact of that was actually caused people to be happy. happier after 30 seconds, like the studies that they were doing for this. And it's just fascinating. But when I think about it, it's like I had written before about, telling myself I'm sensational until I kind of started like slightly believing it, right? and when you're in one of those bad spaces and just having that mindset and the behaviors that will reinforce, it's not all bad. It can be bad. And there are definitely times that it is bad, but to still look for that positive, to build on that versus spiraling down in the negative. And so it was interesting with that. There was also another element, and I'm not a very materialistic person, but I do like some things. Like, I mean, I'm not anti-materialistic by any means, but I'm also not super, like, I don't really care. But how much they had research in there about experiences over materials, because the dopamine you get, the happiness you get from something having actually starts to wear off, right? But the experience you have, you keep rewriting it, you keep narrating, you keep building it. And I think about different experiences. Like my family did our big trip to Europe 2 years ago. And I think that trip was amazing, but I think over time that trip has in my mind become even more amazing, right? I'm already experiencing that with just going to Budapest last year and stuff. So experiences over materials, but it was interesting to read some of the studies and the data behind why that happens. And so that was an interesting take. Some of the reinforced things, like it spends a lot of time reinforcing Carol Dweck's work. You can make a lot of parallels to Daniel Pink's work or David Marquet's work in terms of purpose and in terms of growth mindset, Carol Dweck's growth mindset. It had things that reinforced my hatred of body language. Like, it's just my face. I'm not mad. It's just my face. People are always like, Trisha, what, like, I don't understand. When I'm sitting just like, and just thinking, I don't think I could do it on command right now because I'll start smiling and laughing and then it doesn't work. But like when I am truly just like not thinking about anything and I'm just there, my face droops to a point basically that it looks pissed off. And so people always say, oh, why are you mad? I'm not mad. It's just my face, right? So there was a whole bunch in here and the studies and the research related to how body language will jack you up and that you got to be really careful about things like that. And so I always appreciate reading something that reinforces things that I've already been learning and that I've been applying. And so that's always a perk, right? One of the areas that I went, oh, I need to incorporate this more is leveraging unconscious thinking. So what in the book was highlighting a lot of times when we're making critical decisions, we really try and do all of our pros and cons list. We try and collaborate together. We want the wisdom of the crowd. We want all these things. We just keep hammering, come at it from different things. We talk about it and look at it from different perspectives and keep going. And and I'm so type A, like I'm like, drive, like, let's go. Let's figure this out. Right. And let's get in the room and hash it out until we get to that decision. Right. But one of the best things that this book was highlighting is for critical decisions, especially group decisions. One of the best things you can do is still do all of those things I was talking about and then pause. Do a crossword, do a puzzle, just take a break intentionally, like go for a walk, like distract your brain with something different else that you have to think, but you're not in that level of deep thinking, because what your brain will keep doing is continue to unconsciously processing it. And that may mean when you come back to it, you're like, oh, I thought of this other thing, or my gut's just kind of telling me this. And that was an interesting, I don't know, he didn't use that wording, but like for me, it was like how many times I've come back to a decision. I'm like, my gut just says this and I couldn't completely explain it. Part of it's because it's unconscious and it's what I've been working through. But after a period of time, after all the data, after all the research, after all the perspectives, I let myself unconsciously think about it, or what some people will say, like soak on it, right? Like just let it marinate and doing those things. And so I definitely think that that's something I could be incorporating more into the generate insights portions of my team collaboration, is that permission to soak, permission to stew, permission for unconscious thinking to just happen and step away, instead of just continuing on until we get to that decision. And that's a tweak I'm going to be making, or a evolution that I'm going to be doing as I'm going forward. I wasn't a big fan. There was a section and on personality in here. I wasn't I just don't like labels of personalities. I don't mind self-labeling, and even almost in a, I referred to myself as type A, right? Like I will do it in a jokey kind of way to help stereotype something, but that's my problem is it's usually a stereotype. We're humans, we're way more complex than that. So I get a little nervous about different types of personality kinds of things. But it was interesting, even the research he was using from it. So, for example, and this one's slightly not work related, but I will highlight it because it's funny. Is I used to joke to my mother that I would never get married unless they were before like an L or something in the alphabet, because my mother had gone from a C to a W, and I hated being the last at everything in school. It sucked. You got the worst, you had worst locker assignments. You got the worst everything. Had to always be the last one to get everything. Like it sucked. I had one teacher with the last name at the end of the alphabet, and she would invert everything, but everybody else, it always just sucked. So I was like, I am never marrying anybody lower than an L. And when my husband told talked with my mom about getting married, she's like, she's only doing it for that B. So I did. I went from a W to a B, and I got to tell you, I don't regret it. It was a wonder. But in the book, it talks about the fact that, like, do people that have last names at the beginning of the alphabet, do they have this kind of association? Because we tend to think at the top winners, bottom losers. And granted, the research actually ended up being very small and negligible and things like that. But it's fascinating what has been researched out there that we just don't know, right? What has been. And I think that's the coolest part of this book was seeing all the different studies that are out there. And it made me curious of what else is out there, right? It made me curious about what else I could be doing differently with things and what that meant. So the other bonus thing that was in here that's more personal, but again, it feels, made me happy, was dogs are better than cats. But you're going to have to read the book around page 198 to know why, because that's my promotion for the book. But dogs are better than cats, according to the research. So overall, I enjoyed it. It made me think. It made me realize what else is out there, and to do more research and studying on what is already researched out there. Little tweaks that you can make. The nice part about the 59-second was at the end of each section, they did have little, he did put in like little things of what you could do differently. Like, in 59 seconds, what is your goal versus potential setbacks and questions, right? And then he highlights and lists that kind of stuff out. So there's a lot in there with that. So I really enjoyed it. I think you should check it out. And let me know what you think. For upcoming, I have public classes in August. So I have an advanced team facilitation, which will now incorporate more unconscious thinking activities. And I have a Leading Amazing Teams course with Jake coming up in August. I now have, I am working with, I will be at the Agile 2024 conference in July in Dallas. You should come and check it out. What else do I have coming up? And I am joining and participating. They haven't announced yet, but it will be coming, is the Agile Network. And so I think they're planning on launching this next month. So there'll be activities and events that you can find me there with. And then I also haven't officially announced it yet, but if you're watching the live stream, you can get a bonus thing. I'm starting a Patreon to where if I want to, like, I'm going to do a Patreon live where I go even deeper on some of the things that's in here and tactical things that I'm making adjustments based on, or I'm going to go a little bit deeper in my blog post on it. So just a little bit of an access to some more exclusive, more deeper kinds of content and things for those that are interested. So that will be available and is on Patreon. You can find me there too as well. So if you have any questions or anything, always, if you have a specific topic you want, let me know. Otherwise, enjoy your 4th of July, and till next time.